Well, I've got to start this episode off by basically saying I've been rubbish. You can see this beautiful booklet. It was created by RPG Fan. I'll pop a link to their article about it in the description. And they did us a solid. They basically stuck a little advert for us right at the back, as you can see here. No sponsorship, no passing of money, nothing like that. Just a gentleman's agreement. And I was like, that is awesome. I'm going to tell everyone about it. And for whatever reason, it's taken me absolutely ages. And they compiled this lovely book that has reviews on each page in that traditional magazine style, which obviously is what we based our channel on. And it's filled with lovely artwork. But if the book itself tickles your fancy, it is obviously very limited. And what they've said to us is if anyone wants to buy this, the first 20 people that buy it, if they quote SwitchUp, well, you're going to get a free world map for a Switch exclusive RPG. All the links will be down in the description. Now, congratulations to the winner of our free game from last week. Your name is on the screen now. You left a lovely comment. I've waffled enough, I think, so let's have a look at some of the best games on sale this week. What are they? Well, let's find out. First up, the most obvious ones. We've got both of the Ori games at the moment, and they're 67% and 75% off respectively until March the 15th. The Ori games are fantastic. They're Metroidvanias, but they tell a beautiful story with lovely artwork in the Studio Ghibli style, or Ghibli. It just doesn't sit right with me calling it Ghibli, I've got to be honest. And this is one of those series that I think you really do need to play the first game first and then the second. I know that sounds obvious, but not all series work that way. If you've played other Metroidvanias on Switch and just haven't tried this for whatever reason, just check the comments. You can guarantee there'll be people telling you how amazing it is. And that is because, well, it's amazing. At these prices, well worth picking up if it's available in your region. The Metal Gear Solid games are also on sale, and unlike Batman, they actually release those individually. So we've got Metal Gear Solid 2 here, which is 30% off, taking it down to about 11 quid until March the 17th. You can also get Metal Gear Solid 3 for the same price. And you know, I was chatting about this in the last sales video and I was saying how difficult it was. Turns out I wasn't very good. And I didn't really know what I was doing. There were a lot more moving parts than Metal Gear Solid 2, because you have to worry about camouflage and fixing up your wounds and all of that stuff. But once you get to grips with it, it's actually quality. So yeah, either get Metal Gear Solid 2, and if you haven't played that, definitely get that first. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Or Metal Gear Solid 3, both 30% off, as I say, until March the 17th. Now in the US, you've got Blasphemous 2 for the cheapest it's ever been. It's down 40%, and that goes on all the way till the end of the month. That's a cracking price. If you missed our full review of Blasphemous 2, it was better than the first one, in my opinion. It was a little more Metroidvania, which I guess if you don't like that genre, then you might not like as much as the other one. But I think it just felt more concise. There were also some better kind of puzzle platform moments, and the pacing was also a little better for me. What I didn't like as much was some of the artwork. They got rid of that like grimy pixelated art and replaced it with hand-drawn stuff, which, don't get me wrong, still looked beautiful. But it didn't quite have that same, I don't know, it didn't make me feel uneasy like the first one. The sale, as I say, for Blasphemous 2 goes on till the end of the month. Now in some regions we have a sale on Strange Brigade, which is down 80%, and that's until March the 14th. This was an interesting one because it runs on the engine they use for Sniper Elite, and it comes from the same developers. But it's like Indiana Jones with zombies. Now if you've got a group of you online, then it's cracking in co-op, fighting off hordes, gradually pushing your way through the stages, completing different objectives. But if you're just solo, it feels a little bit like World War Z, or Z if you're American, mixed with Indiana Jones. It has that quirky humour, like Rebellion always have that funny humour in their games, and it's still here, but I love this engine that they use. I think it looks great. Sure, there are a few quirks here and there, but overall it's good performance, and it really does run the online things very nicely. So that one, yeah, it's just about 5 quid until March the 14th. Graveyard Keeper, fantastic game. from the same team that just brought us the last of the Riot Forge League of Legends games, a Bandle Tale, which in all honesty was just average. But Graveyard Keeper is brilliant. I think it's not even underrated really, because everyone says it's good, or most people. As the title suggests, you get to play as a slightly unusual Graveyard Keeper who removes different organs. And I think you can, if I remember correctly, you can like sell them. I don't think you have to do that though. But then you can either bury your people properly, or you can throw them in the river. It's all very macabre, and I actually like that. There are lots of expansions for this as well. They teamed up. I think there's one called it's based on Breaking Bad. Is it like Waking Dead or something? But yeah, if you get into the game, there's a ton of expandable content that you can buy that isn't just cosmetics. But Graveyard Keeper at 75% off in some regions is a nice little pickup until March the 27th. Wavetale finally gets a price where it's bang on. 60% off. I think that's the cheapest it's ever been. This is lovely. You're like gliding around on the surface of the ocean, almost skating on it. There are little islands, little archipelagos around. There's a bit of puzzle platforming in there. There's some combat as well where you can lock onto enemies. But this is a one and done, short experiential story where you're moving your way across the ocean with a very clear and specific goal in mind that I won't spoil. And that takes around 5 or 6 hours. There are other little collectibles and other things that you can see, and it tells a lot of its story just in the environments. A really nice game, but at full price it was a bit of an ask. So 60% off until March the 22nd, definitely a nice little pickup. An absolute bargain, if you will. Now, I do want to mention Phoenix Rising, which, probably quite well-known fact actually, was once called, was it Gods and Monsters? And then Ubisoft changed the name. But this is the Gold Edition, which is down 85% off. That's the cheapest it's ever been. It's an unashamed clone of Breath of the Wild in some of its aspects in terms of visuals, gliding around, things like that. But it has the Assassin's Creed combat system, which in some ways is a little deeper. And you don't have to worry about weapons breaking. Now, I enjoyed this. Not everyone did though, so it's a one that's worth keeping your eye in the comments, because some people I'm sure will be like, yeah, it's really good, I loved it, and others will be like, oh, it's overrated. So yeah, I just thought it was great. It copies so many elements of Breath of the Wild, and I think it does it well enough that it makes it worth experiencing. As I say, the Gold Edition, which includes all of the DLC, 85% off until March the 17th. Then the US region, I think, hopefully I've got that right, has a Call of Juarez Gunslinger discount. A nice chunky one, 80% off. This is a cracking game. Although it's old, it is gold. First-person shooters aren't exactly known for their storylines, are they? But the Call of Juarez series has always been good at telling a story, and this does it really well. There are times where you're fighting inside a house, peeking out the window, like proper Wild West shootout style. It looks decent on Switch. They've done some nice little trickery to keep everything running nicely. And it's just a fun game. There's some good voice acting. There's a narrator that's telling the story that you're basically playing out. But yeah, you'll be ducking behind cover, you'll be going through little towns. You feel like you're in Westworld, like Westworld. That's a good series, isn't it, Westworld? Actually, have you seen that they've just announced the Fallout TV series? That looks awesome, and I didn't realise it's actually from, I think, I'm right in saying this, the director of the Westworld series. Westworld was so weird, wasn't it? Because the first season was amazing. Then the second was like, alright. And then it went down the toilet. I'm sorry if you're just watching season 1 and thinking, wow, I can't wait. But yeah, it really does go down the pan. So yeah, that's Call of Juarez Gunslinger, 80% off until March the 16th. Very nice little bargain then. We've got Zengen. This one's 80% off, down to what, $3.99 or your regional equivalent. Quite a small little like pick up and play loading game, but there are still 6 different characters to choose from. And it describes itself as an anime-infused action RPG. It's a roguelite. There's a bit of that meta progression in there. It is quite fun. And it does have 4-player online co-op as well, so if you've got a few people that have the game, then you can play in co-op. You just can't do that locally, which is a shame in my opinion. As with a lot of roguelites, every run's slightly different. You've got that meta progression to keep getting more powerful as you go along, with various different power-ups. And yeah, 80% off until March the 15th. Now I did want to mention that all of the Trails games are currently 30% off. My personal favourite I think is probably The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero. Cracking game. I love that art style as well. I wish they hadn't moved away from this, to be honest. They went to a full 3D look for the later games. But I really like this isometric style. There's a scene at the beginning where you're going into town on a train and it's just quality. Like, I love that mixture of futuristic and medieval. Really good. But you play as Lloyd Bannings. He basically returns to his hometown. He joins the police department. So you're one of, I think it's Crossbell Police Department. And he gets assigned to a special unit who certainly are special to begin with. And they get a lot better. They're great games. I really, really do enjoy them. And you're looking at about, what, 50 to 100 hours. So you're definitely going to get your money's worth. They're all 30% off at the moment. Go check them out and see which ones tickle your fancy. We do have reviews of most of them as well, so you can get a little bit more information. Those sales go on until March the 18th. Now then, it's time for our Savaloy Selection, the games that are around about the price of a UK Savaloy, a Vedcook, a Costco hot dog combo. Don't you get like a drink and a hot dog for like a few dollars or something like that? Happy days. First up, an absolutely amazing game. This scored in the 90s on the channel is Super Daryl Deluxe, which is 85% off till March the 14th. It might not look it, but this game's brilliant. It's actually like quite a deep RPG, a bonkers storyline, but Daryl is amazing. A real hidden gem for some, I think. Go watch our full review. It is an old one and I will sound like a squeaky voiced little person, but yeah, I still think it will tell you what you need to know. Then you've got Help Will Come Tomorrow, 90% off till March 27th. As you can probably see from what's on the screen, it's all about survival, expanding your camp, gathering up resources, making decisions about who's there. And there are 10 different unique storylines that you'll uncover by playing through, so quite a different twist on the usual roguelike formula, but still, some of your decisions will go completely Pete Tong, and everyone will die, but you know, I'm sure you'll find a way. Help will come tomorrow. That's on sale until March 28th. Rico, 90% off. Rico London was a complete mess, but the original Rico is quite fun. It's first person, has gyro controls, and it's a roguelite where you make your way through stages, picking off headshots, bit of slow-mo, tiny touch of Max Payne in there, but actually quite addictive when you get into it. Don't expect the world, but for 90% off, not too shabby. Then finally, Rogue Trooper Redux is 80% off till March the 14th, a classic game that's been out on other systems, a third-person action adventure that's a little deeper than you might imagine. You actually have a weapon, I believe, that talks. Do you know what? I think I might have just completely made that up. Am I going mad? Maybe I'm getting confused with that part of Cyberpunk. I don't know if you played the new DLC. You get this gun and it's just chattering away to you. But I'm sure there's you'll have to let me know. I think I might be going mad. Either way, it does have online co-op, and I know your teammates, you can tell them what to do. Now they did redo the graphics here, so it's HD, new models, dynamic lights. It looks a little bit more pretty than it once did, and it's about 6 hours long. It's a good game. I think I've gone completely mad and think the guns talk when they don't, but you'll have to let me know. I don't know why that's in my mind. That sale goes on until March the 15th. So there we have it. Usually at this point I would say a game that you should avoid, but I'm not going to do that this week. I'm going to say it is Mario Day, isn't it? The physical for a lot of the Mario games at various places like Best Buy and GameStop, Amazon, you'll find discounts, but for some weird reason Nintendo haven't reduced those games on the eShop on Mario Day, which seems like a real missed opportunity. Bah humbug. So there we have it. Thanks so much to all of you that enjoy the content. As I said at the start, if you saw it, we've got that lovely RPG fan book with different review cards in there. Looks amazing. 296 pages of glorious reviews. And the first 20 people will get themselves a nice map of a Switch exclusive RPG if they quote SwitchUp on their order. If you're number 21, I'm so sorry, you're still getting an awesome book. It has that magazine smell that I forgot about. Nice. Thanks to our Patreons, our members, all of you that enjoy the content, and as always, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!